Tired of the same boring food when you're out for breakfast or lunch? I'm Mark Hoke, and I have an idea for a different place to go with unique food you're sure to enjoy, and that's Unique Eats. Take some time out of your busy day and stop on in to Unique Eats, featuring celebrity chef Dominic Tedesco and his friendly staff. Whether it's a great start to your day with one of Unique Eats' amazing omelets, or lunch with his incredible sandwiches, pasta, and award-winning pizzas, you'll be in for a fantastic dining experience that won't break the bank. Unique Eats also features a smoothie bar and full vegetarian menu as well. Plus, if you need catering, you can count on Unique Eats no matter what the occasion. So what are you waiting for? Get on over to Unique Eats at 3100 South Durango, Suite 100, open daily until 3 p.m. Call them at 702-992-3038 or visit uniqueeatslv.com for their full menu and catering info. Break out of the same old routine and have a great meal at Unique Eats today.
101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN, the talk of Las Vegas.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the #1 professional wrestling radio show in Las Vegas. This is the Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Wrestling news, entertainment, and lots of Sin City surprises from inside the squared circle. Now, let's bring on the tag team of Andrew Fish Fain, Joe DeFalco, and your host, Mark Hoke.
Boom! Shakalaka! He's on fire, that's right.
Oh, good Lord.
Fish, you know. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, NBA, what is
NBA
it?
Jam.
NBA Jam, that's what it was, you're right.
The game that took so many of my tips when I was delivering pizza for Godfathers in college. It just
That would be Godfather's Pizza, not actual Godfathers. Well, maybe it was actual Godfathers.
I wasn't delivering Godfather. How would you deliver a Godfather?
I got a pepperoni and mushroom you cannot refuse.
Now, if I was delivering the wrestling Godfather, he might have a fun entourage, and then I'd have a good night.
It's the hoe trade.
Yeah, that'd be okay.
Because pimping ain't easy.
Yes, it is. I think, well, it can be easy if you do it right. But anyway.
Hey, he was also Papa Shango.
Yes, he was.
And the human fighting machine.
Yes, quite a bit for the Godfather there.
Charles Wright, I believe.
Yes, and used to run cheetahs here in town, too, before he sold it.
Did he really?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No.
Yeah,
That's where he got his hose for the hoe train?
That's a possibility. I don't know. I think that may have been after the wrestling career.
But is he a WWE Hall of Fame? I mean, I know he is.
Is the Godfather... Wow, this is nowhere where I thought we were going to go. By the way, this is the Mark Hoke Show on KDWN 101.5 FM, 720 AM. We should introduce ourselves before
Probably.
In the premise of the show.
I'm the Vandergrift Destroyer, Andrew the Fish Vein.
You're an idiot.
Nope. I'm the Vandergrift Destroyer.
You're going to owe me $1 every time you bring that name up. That's it.
Oh, no, I can't afford that.
That is Andrew Fish Vein, the
Vandergrift Destroyer.
The goofball over there, who, of course, is the host on
At
Monday
the LA
nights.
Sports Arena on Tuesday night. You're mine, Vandergrift.
What are you talking about?
I don't know.
I'm trying to introduce you. Can I get through that before you be a twit?
Yeah, probably.
Thank you.
Nah, I doubt it.
The host of SportsX Radio on Monday nights as he sits in for Ken Thompson.
Woo!
Here on KDWN 101.5 FM 720 AM. You can tune in here, Fish, and
I think tomorrow
myself.
night I'll be sitting in with Ken Thompson.
Yeah, it'll be, and I will be there on the air producing.
Yes,
I'm not a official co-host
capacity. No,
officially, but I am. We'll just
and this will be the last week before you have to do 5 push-ups on the air when Terry Francona wins Manager of the Year.
He's not winning it. You're dead. And Joe DeFalco of Future Stars of Wrestling, by the way, will be joining us around 8:30. He had a little business to take care of.
Yeah, he's trying to get the contract signed between me and Vandergrift.
I knew you were going to say it. You're ridiculous. So we'll be discussing all the news that's fit to print here in professional wrestling.
Like, is the Godfather really Hall of Fame worthy?
I think we should save that for when Joe gets here. Keep that in the back of your head. But that's an interesting question. I would say yeah. I would say yeah.
I'm much
some
like
of the people they put in the WWE Hall of Fame, yeah.
Much like I am in baseball, I'm very much a small hall guy because that makes the hall more special. So I don't know if he's worthy or not.
The WWE Hall of Fame is not a small hall.
No, I know, but it should be.
Well, it's not.
Because like Harold Baines does not belong in.
we're going to get it. By the way, remind me about that because the Veterans Committee is voting on some people coming up this time around.
Including Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens.
Rafael Palmeiro, a lot of guys.
None of those guys are getting in.
Be interesting.
Kurt Schilling not getting in.
And Pete Rose also is.
Don Mattingly, however, I like. That's an interesting name to me.
Okay.
We'll talk.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. So we're hyping the show we're doing tomorrow instead of talking about what we're supposed to be talking about today.
And there's so much to talk about that we probably shouldn't waste any time talking about anything except for me beating Vandergriff.
You're killing me. So let's start in WWE, shall we?
If that's where you'd like to begin, we can start either place.
That's where I'd like to start.
Although the match of the week was in AEW, and I can't believe I'm actually saying that.
Well, because it happens all the time, Fish.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it does.
It happened this week.
We were talking a little bit. God, and it's too bad Joe's not here to start the show. But
then why don't we hold off and talk about this category with Joe because he is a good person to have talking about it.
Because it's the main news, man.
It is not the main news. We can make whatever the main news be whatever we want it to be. The main news actually is me taking on Vandergriff.
Okay. Now I got to start here. The Money in the Bank case has been cashed in by our good friend Austin Theory, who decided to inexplicably cash in the case on Monday Night Raw this week.
During an open challenge.
With an open challenge already out there for the United States Championship. For those that don't know what the Money in the Bank case is, there's a match at a pay-per-view called the Money in the Bank for WWE, Premium Live Event, where a case with a contract for a WWE Championship match is in the case, and everybody's climbing the ladder. It's a bunch of guys and women that do separate matches.
Or get thrown off buildings during a pandemic.
That too. And I forgot about that. And whoever gets the briefcase has a chance to cash it in any time during a year period, to try to win a world championship. It has never been cashed in for a U.S. title. The women, one time Charlotte cashed it in for the NXT title.
And that was my next question. What's a bigger waste? Trying to cash it in for the NXT title or for the U.S. heavyweight title?
Well, I didn't have much of a problem.
The Charlotte one I didn't hate. But if Austin Theory had tried to cash it in on Braun Breaker, would that have been worse than cashing it in here?
I would have rather had him cashed in on Braun Breaker. I think people would have been talking about that.
Doesn't it diminish the Money in the Bank if you're doing it for the heavyweight title? No offense to the heavyweight title, it's still a championship. But at the same time, that's not what you should be cashing in your Money in the Bank for. The whole idea is because it's so difficult to get a world title shot, you save it specifically for a world title shot.
Yeah, and of course, people have used it in moments. I think one of the greatest ones was John Cena being laid out and Edge coming in, and
I thought Seth Rollins
Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. You can do it any time, and usually it's been done when people have been incapacitated.
Right, it's usually about 90%. I can think of very few cash-ins that were unsuccessful. John Cena is the only one to say, "I will have my cash-in at a pay-per-view," and because back at the time it was pay-per-view, rather than just doing it on someone who is laid out.
Baron Corbin failed to cash in
because
of
John Cena.
We had I just thought of the other one.
Didn't the Miz? The
Damien
Miz did,
Sandow.
Yeah, the Miz didn't actually fail his last year.
No, because he
made a deal
went
with Lashley.
Through a legal battle to get it from Otis. Somehow getting Otis into court and getting the case from him. So we have had 2 of the last 3 years with Money in the Bank that this has been an utter disaster. And, of course, Theory lost. And the worst part was that Seth Rollins, who is the current United States champion, had issued an open challenge. Anybody could have walked out and wrestled for that title. But Theory decided to not accept the open challenge and wait to cash in.
Well, didn't he try to accept the open challenge but was blindsided by Lashley?
Yeah, he was thinking about it. But the whole point is, this was a disaster.
Yeah, and the problem is, to be honest with you, short of the championship, the Money in the Bank should be held in the highest regard and the highest esteem because it is really a huge benefit to whomever has it. And to waste it by the writing team is just lazy to waste it on the U.S. Championship. But they had to get the Money in the Bank of Austin Theory because no one would have bought him as the heavyweight champion.
It was, and for those that don't know, to back the story a little too, Vince McMahon, before he was ousted from WWE, was
madly in love.
Yes,
with.
he had a man crush on Austin Theory and was pushing him to the moon. He was doing vignettes with him and all this kind of stuff. The
WrestleMania match with him.
I mean, it was Austin Theory was his guy, and when Vince went by, Theory was no longer the guy.
No,
so obviously now Theory is just destroyed.
Well, yes and no, because the backstage rumor is that they're actually things are good backstage for Theory now because now they can have programs with him that actually mean something.
Yeah, but at the same time, this was just a no-win for him. After Vince left, I'd have rather seen them done something where he'd maybe have done something clever but just lost.
Your idea that you would come to me, actually, the more I think about it, I do like it, especially with the anonymity part.
This was my idea, and just so WWE can hear how brilliant I am, I am Mark Hoke on the Mark Hoke Show. My idea was that Austin was going to decide to sell the briefcase, and the next week on Raw, you would have a bunch of anonymous people representing wrestlers, so like accountant types, on the screen, and they're all bidding for the case, and the final bid gets up to $1 million. That whoever got that got the case. So Austin Theory is now a millionaire, and he is now, instead of being Mr. Money in the Bank, he's Mr. Million in the Bank.
He's actually Mr. Money in the Bank.
Right, now he's literally got $1 million.
And see, I was thinking about your suggestion I loved about who should have won it, but I have another suggestion as well because I just thought about.
But just to finish that too, then you don't know who's got the Money in the Bank case. So at Royal Rumble or WrestleMania or something like that, all of a sudden,
some
somebody
random wrestler
we don't
comes out.
know who it is. I mean, could you imagine the suspense that would have been going on with, my God, who's got the Money in the Bank? Who has it? Cody Rhodes could have had it.
And the best part about it is not only that, but you could have like 4 wrestlers come out and you think any one of them could have it, and it's one. You know what I'm saying?
Anybody could be lying and teasing, and boy, Roman Reigns' head would have been spinning.
I see. The more I think about it, the more I like the idea. And the other thought I had was, who is the one guy that always wanted to get his hands on the heavyweight championship but was never able to?
Who is that?
Ted DiBiase.
Ah.
And he was always willing to spend as much money as it took.
I think the only problem with DiBiase is because of the scandal that's going on down in Mississippi with the welfare payments.
Yeah,
I don't know if you could have used Ted, but that's a good idea. But that's what I'm saying. It could have been anybody. You could have dragged Jake Roberts out.
No, not only that. Or you could even fake it and have someone come out saying, "Yeah, I won the Money in the Bank." And do a whole thing with it, and it turns out they didn't have the Money in the Bank.
So you can see, just because of me, little radio host here on the Mark Hoke Show, coming up with an idea that would have been terrific. And then Austin Theory is running around with $1 million, and he's a young guy. He's spending it on wasteful
wine, women,
stuff,
and song.
And just whatever. And being stupid, and it would have been fun.
I was saying, the best part about your idea is, it leaves it so open that you could do anything.
Mm-hmm. You would have plenty of time to gotten yourself out of this mess.
And like I said, I mean, literally, you could every single week you could fake someone having the Money in the Bank.
And the best part is that you don't hurt Theory. Theory actually would have come off as, dude, I sold it for $1 million. I'll get a world title shot some other time somewhere down the road.
Right, and
I'm a millionaire.
And that's the way you sell it is, I'm Theory. I'm good enough that I can get a title shot anytime I want anyway. So I don't need the Money in the Bank.
Yeah. So just, hey, WWE Creative.
Much better than losing it to the U.S. title after an open challenge.
Oh, jeez. But it will be interesting to see where Austin Theory goes from here. And he's such a talented guy. I don't want to denigrate him as a wrestler because he's fantastic.
I would say he's a fantastic heel. And he kind of stopped when he won the Money in the Bank. He kind of stopped the whole taking selfies with guys after they lost, and that was part of that was, for lack of a better term, part of the charm of him being that heel.
It was pretty cool, So we'll see what happens with Mr. Theory as time goes by.
He needs more time to grow. I think.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have bought him.
It was another one of those things where Vince tried to shove somebody down everyone's throats that they weren't ready for. And I remember, and it's funny because Money in the Bank, the pay-per-view was here in Las Vegas. And I decided for some reason not to go. I can't remember what it was. But I was so glad
have Money in the Bank.
No, I could have gone. We actually had tickets here. But
I thought it was kind of funny that you didn't have the money. Never mind.
Yeah, funny. But
I'm cashing mine in on Vandergriff.
But but I remember how disappointed everybody was, and I think you do too, that Theory somehow got added into the match at the last minute, and at that point you knew who was going to win, and it was like, oh my God.
The only Money in the Bank I was more disappointed in was the year Ali was supposed to win and they gave it to Brock Lesnar.
That was a rough one too. That was a rough one. Yeah, Lesnar just came in and he just showed up out of the blue
and decided
he wasn't even in the match.
No.
And they just
go
big man.
And I found that very annoying because, again, a guy like Brock Lesnar doesn't need to win the Money in the Bank.
No.
Now, the way he handled it when he had the briefcase was hilarious.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was pretty good. But, yeah, this was, we were very optimistic about WWE Creative when Triple H took over. And at the beginning, we saw some cool stuff. But unfortunately, I think we're falling back into some serious booking mistakes at this point, and I hope it doesn't stay that way. Now, this was a mess. Like this situation, for example, was a mess that was created by Vince McMahon. Shouldn't have ever happened, and they had to find a way.
But they could have cleaned up. We just came up with in 5 minutes we came up with a better way to clean up the mess.
Yes, we did.
And and they are doing certain things like the fact that they got rid of the 24/7 championship.
Yes,
I'm thrilled about. Although, even though Nikki missed the trash can, and you watch Bailey, she was trying so hard not to laugh.
That did happen. And we'll go there next. We've got a little bit of time, of course, here on the Mark Hoke Show on KDWN 101.5 FM, 720 AM. We are the talk of Las Vegas.
We're changing the name to the Vandergriff Killer Show.
Come on, enough of the Vandergriff.
Never.
Andrew Fain and, of course, Joe DeFalco will be joining us.
I just want a response.
15 minutes, so... Well, message Vandergriff. I'll get a hold of him too. We'll get him.
Okay, now I'll stop talking about it until Joe comes on.
But the 24/7 title is no more. For those who know what the 24/7 title is, that was a championship that could be defended at any point, anytime. It was their comedy kind of.
It was basically the hardcore championship,
but not hardcore.
Right.
It was not hardcore.
No, and I will say this: I think the perfect way to end it, though, would have been having R-Truth be the last guy to hold it. He held it like 51 times.
Well, unfortunately, couldn't, because if you didn't hear, R-Truth got hurt, by the way.
I know, but still.
But Nikki Cross won the 24/7 championship and then proceeded to try to Mitch Elliott.
And then instead, she now is a member of the Lakers because she can't hit a shot.
Yes, she missed the trash can, which was very ironic for the 24/7 championship because it was just... there were some funny moments with the 24/7 championship, and R-Truth, as has been said many times about him, is a national treasure. I can't remember if it was 52 or 54 times he won the title.
I thought it was 52 because I thought it was 51 actually.
Because what happened with it is if you were walking or you were the 24/7 champion, you literally could defend it at any moment in your life. So as long as there was a referee around, someone could run up behind you, roll you up, pin you, and whether you were at a garbage dump or in a WWE ring, it didn't matter.
And we haven't seen Reggie since then, right?
No, Reggie be gone. We had that terrible...
Is he out of WWE or is he just not on TV?
He's not on TV. But
that was... the whole Akira Tozawa, R-Truth, Reggie, Tamina,
The love quad or whatever was going on there.
I'm glad they got rid of the title.
Dana Brooke at least got a chance to be on TV a little bit. And
she can say she was a WWE title holder.
Yes, she can. but we'll see if that ever happens again. But not to bust on Dana, she works very hard. But the championship is gone. Should everything like that ever be brought back, Fish?
No. And if they do, they need to package it correctly and not make it. You can't make it silly. It's still a title. It still should hold some value, and that's the problem. Is they made it hold no value.
Well, at the same time, though, on the role of a title like that, it was designed to be comic relief. It really was. And sometimes in wrestling, you do need some funny things.
Yeah, but the problem,
but a lot of it was forced, and it just.
I was just gonna say that's the problem with it is the comedy was forced with the 24/7 championship.
A lot of it was not well written.
No,
you like when Reggie had it. Of course, Reggie used to be a former Cirque du Soleil performer, and
he was Carmela Sommelier,
and he would just flippy dip his way out of situations. It was kind of funny the first couple of times when we did it. Like I remember the one with where R-Truth was chasing him through a park and Reggie was flipping off playground equipment and all that stuff to get away from him. And
he was almost doing parkour.
It was. I mean, that was kind of cool. But
but then they did the same thing week after week after week. I was like, I don't need to see it again.
Like you're flipping off a case, equipment cases. Great. Okay, we got it. It just, it needs to. That idea, it needs to be finished. And, of course, it was somewhat based on the old Hardcore Championship, where could also be defended at any time, but the Hardcore Championship was more people beating the crud out of each other.
Yeah.
Mick Foley was the first champion of that. They handed him the belt, and he never won it again after he lost it.
It makes sense that he would have had it at some point.
You would have thought he'd won it more than once, though.
It wasn't... I can't even think of his name. The Hardcore Holly's little Chip Holly. Not Chip Holly. What the hell was his name? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
He won it more than anybody else, I thought. And I can't think. Why can't I not think of his name? Not Molly Holly, obviously.
Yeah, no, definitely not Molly Holly. I'm getting there.
Thank you. It's just, it's like they. You're right. They took it after that. At the same time, they made it much more silly.
Crash
Holly. Thank you.
Yeah, because you had a Hardcore Holly and Crash Holly.
Right.
There you go.
Well, Hardcore Holly was Sparky Plug, so there you go.
Yeah, so we are going to bid arrivederci
to the 24/7 championship.
To the 24/7 championship. Thank God.
Yes.
Oh, my
Are they going to, do you see them bringing in another title belt? Whether it be a light heavyweight, a European?
No, I mean, a light heavyweight championship wouldn't be bad.
That would be the same as the Cruiserweight Championship, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of history in WWE with that title, and of course in WCW and so on.
Yes, and the Cruiserweight title was great until they only started defending it on 205 Live. Then nobody cared.
Right. There are a lot of good lightweight wrestlers out there, and Triple H likes them. So we'll see how that goes. And
Triple H likes old school wrestling, which is why they're talking about bringing the King of the Ring back as a one-day tournament PLE.
Yes, that would be fantastic. Absolutely.
Because that's right up Triple H's alley.
Yeah. You know what else is up Triple H's alley? Making money.
Oh, hell yes.
Yes, it is. And if you would like to have a chance to make some extra money in your life, all you got to do is go to tradingmadeasy.com and work with the boys from Trading Made Easy. Automated day trading software. They train you. They get you all ready to roll. They don't throw you out there and just give you software and say, hey, here you go. And you can make money even in this crappy, horrendous economy because it's just a couple clicks of a button. It's really cool. And my friend James runs this, and he does a great job and takes care of his clients. And if you want to get involved, it's really simple. Just go to tradingmadeasy.com. That's tradingmadeasy.com. It's so simple. They only need one E in the title. So it's company's Trading Made Easy, or you can give them a call at 800-971-4160. That's 800-971-4160, and you can sign up for a free live trading session, no obligation. Just check it out. Yeah, it's really simple. They do trading sessions Monday through Thursday. I think they might be doing some on Sunday too. So give them a call. Check it out. 800-971-4160. Trading Mad Easy. All right, we come back. We will be picking up our other co-host, Joe DeFalco.
Yay!
Got a lot more going on. Of course, AEW Full Gear is coming up. The odds are up on that. We'll talk about that. And The NWA making some news. Will we be having one of the best wrestlers in the USA coming back into WWE? Stick around. When it comes to having the right attorney in your corner, you want to have a proven winner on your side. And Russell Dutch Boyd of VegasCounsel.com knows how to win in Las Vegas. Boyd graduated at 18 years old from law school and is also a 3-time World Series of Poker bracelet winner. And no matter what legal challenges you're facing, Boyd will help you through it all. As a litigation attorney, he covers multiple areas of law, including personal injury, business law and startup, cyber law, and crypto clients, and whatever else you might need to navigate the legal waters of Las Vegas and beyond. Just visit VegasCounsel.com to set up your free initial consultation today. That's VegasCounsel.com and let Dutch Boyd help you win today. Once again, that's Russell Boyd at VegasCounsel.com.
.1015 FM, 720 AM, KDWN, the talk of Las Vegas.
Now, let's return to the Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Here again, your host, Mark Hoke.
All right, and we are back on the Mark Hoke Show on KDWN 1015 FM, 720 AM, the talk of Las Vegas. It's the station so nice it's on your dial twice. I kind of
twice the amount of time that. Never mind.
Wow. Come on, Fish. If you're going to get clever, get clever.
No, I decided not to mention his name again.
Okay. Thank you.
He who shall not be mentioned.
Yeah, that would be a good idea. But I do want to remind everybody, if you're driving around Vegas right now or just sitting around saying, man, I'm hungry, I need some really good food.
Oh, yeah. I may leave the show just so I can go down there right now because I'm getting hungry and that sounds good.
You could walk because it's just down the street on Durango is Unique Eats.
So good.
Unbelievable food. Breakfast, lunch. You've got, omelets and pastas and award-winning. I had one of his pizzas finally, by the way. Unreal.
And not that it makes the food any better or worse or indifferent, but Dominic is a great dude.
Yes, he is.
In studio last week.
Celebrity chef Dominic Tedesco running the show over there, and they just got their liquor license. So let me tell you what you can be doing on Sunday. They start having a jazz artist in there at 11 o'clock. Get some mimosas, some pancakes, pizza, whatever you want. It's unreal. And Dominic has won awards for his pizza. So I would tell everybody, head on over to Unique Eats right now at 3100 South Durango, Suite 100.
And make sure you keep us on the radio while you're driving there.
Please do. Tell Dominic to put the live stream on the TVs, whatever. But, of course, you can also go to Unique Eats LV, check out their menu. They do great catering as well. So if you got an event, you can give Dominic a call on that. He's opened 46 restaurants, I believe you said on the show. That was unbelievable.
That is fantastic. Yeah, and the funny thing is he said he could have as many restaurants here in Vegas as he wants, but he'd rather just have the one to focus on it, which tells you how good it is.
Yeah. So get on over there to Unique Eats, or you can give them a call, 702-992-3038. Pick something up, whatever you want. Smoothie bar, vegetarian menu. Whatever you need, they got it. Unique Eats, and it's uniqueeatslv.com. All right, of course, I'm Mark Hoke, Andrew Fish Fain, and we got Joe DeFalco on the line. Joe, the king of feature stars of wrestling. How are you, sir?
Oh, wonderful.
Good morning, Joe.
Uh-oh.
Good morning.
It's Grumpy Joe.
I love Joe. I don't care if it's Grumpy Joe or not.
That's all right. Well, that means it's the perfect time. Joe, we talked a little bit about the Austin Theory Money in the Bank cash-in, and I did want to get your thoughts on that fiasco. What did you think?
It's time to hit the reset button, and I'm pretty sure Triple H is high on Theory. I think they just felt that right now wasn't the right time, and it's like I don't blame them. Like Austin Theory really shouldn't be the heavyweight champion at this point. So.
No, and we don't have an argument with that part. We just think it could have been handled a lot better. And Mark, why don't you tell Joe what I think, all joking aside, was a great idea for it.
Oh, Joe, I just said that Austin decides to sell the case. You have a bunch of anonymous accountants bidding on behalf of wrestlers. He gets $1 million for it. Austin now becomes Mr. Million in the Bank. and then you don't know who's got the case until it gets cashed in.
Well, I guess, but isn't that similar to the Cameron Grimes I'm a crypto millionaire gimmick?
Yeah, but Austin Theory will blow the $1 million. It'll be funny. Give him some setup to be stupid.
Didn't Happy Corbin become rich?
He did, but he actually invested wisely and hired JBL. Good call for him. I know you love Happy Corbin.
Yeah, one of my favorites. But, I think Austin Theory is going to be a major player. But right now, with all these guys coming back, they're really – it's difficult to put a focus on a guy that's going to be something when they already have people that already are something.
Yep, agreed. So let's continue on with some WWE stuff, as we do have the first War Games match somewhat set up for Survivor Series, sort of, as we're going to have Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, Asuka, and 2 TBDs taking on Damage Control. Of course, that's Bayley and the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, Dakota Kai and Io Sky, and Nikki Cross. And there's one more name to go into that. The first thing I wanted to say was, are you guys kind of surprised that this is the route that they took with one of the War Games matches?
Yes. And I thought, like I said, originally I thought they were going to, even though they were going to have War Games, they were going to try to keep the Survivor Series theme intact and have it be a team from Raw versus a team from SmackDown, which they decided not to do. I was also surprised because you don't have a natural fifth for Damage Control, nor a natural fourth and fifth for the face team, although I still think that Sasha Banks and Naomi would be the perfect fourth and fifth for the face team.
Agreed. Joe, what did you think of this idea?
Well, I'm a little underwhelmed, and I know we talked about it last week. It's the same thing with the men's match. It's like, so we're going to have the War Games, and the big deal is the Brawling Brutes and the Bloodline. I'm just not that excited about it, and I saw that. It's the Brawling Brutes, and once again, Drew McIntyre and Sheamus are buddies again.
Yeah. Well, that kind of happened when the Brawling Brutes, naturally, I would imagine, by the fans' show of support, became faces instead of heels. So Drew fits in that regard because of it.
Well, he fits in, but wasn't he just in a blood feud with Sheamus and 2 months ago?
Yeah, we forget all about that, though.
And again, you talk about, well, there's not a natural fifth. Well, there's not a natural fifth there. There wasn't a natural fourth. So it's
Kevin Owens is the natural fifth against the Bloodline.
I guess he hasn't done anything with them in 2 months.
That's true.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that if you want to do a War Games match, the War Games match should be a couple groups of people that do not like each other.
Which is why Judgment Day and OC would be a perfect fit if they had enough people.
Yeah.
But you couldn't main event with that. Who cares?
Right, exactly. So, the only way you make people care about that match is you get Edge and Beth Phoenix in that, and you get Rhea Ripley on the other side.
But that would be still one short on Judgment Day.
Right, but it's still not a main event. So it's
no. I completely agree.
It's a great concept, and I love War Games, but. The idea is it's a 5-on-5 match that is a matchup like I'd rather see Logan Paul and the brother. Obviously, one's hurt or whatever, but it makes no sense. It's like there isn't this heated feud with Butch and the Usos. They had the one match that they got together because. They said, hey, let's give these guys a title shot because they seem to be over a little bit, that nobody expected them to win. So would anybody in their right mind think that the Bloodline would lose this War Games match? Are they going to put Sheamus over as the guy to take out Roman Reigns? I guess they could, but I highly doubt it.
I think the only way that this is really going to draw people's attention is more some aftermath in the match, or something happens.
Sami Zayn turning on the Bloodline.
Sami Zayn turning on the Bloodline with Kevin Owens in there, and then they decimate the Usos and end up winning the tag titles, and that would get people's attention.
Well,
but
they have a main event. They have a main event if they want. It's the Bloodline versus the Wyatt Five.
Yeah, but I was just gonna say, at some point, doesn't Bray Wyatt have to step back into the ring?
Yeah,
if they go after Bray Wyatt and then all of a sudden he brings his minions with him, I think you could build that. But unfortunately, the thing's in a couple weeks.
Yeah, and that
it's just like, oh yeah, by the way, we got War Games coming up in 2 weeks, and it's like, what?
Yeah, and I just hope that because it's so close that they don't decide just to throw something together for Bray Wyatt, because that would ruin what they've done so far. But the slow burn does need to speed up a little bit.
Yeah, I think the whole issue to me when they announced that they were going to put the War Games in the Survivor Series wasn't that they were doing it. It's just there was nothing there that was really set up. And I think it was just done to, hey, we're doing something different at Survivor Series. Well, that's great. But at the same time, a War Games match, for those that don't know the history of this, I mean, this was, the first ones were the Horsemen taking on Dusty Rhodes and a bunch of the good guys. And you had such a build to that match, and everybody was just like, wow, this is incredible. And now you're kind of in a situation where there just wasn't anything there to build on quick, and slowly enough to get people to buy into this. So, it's another issue of WWE rushing a story that doesn't make any sense.
Right, and like I said, if you had it Raw versus SmackDown, you could have had matches on Raw, matches on SmackDown to see who's going to be part of the War Games 5 to represent each.
See, but I don't think that that's a good idea either, because the problem is that War Games has always been somebody settling a score.
Yeah, no, understood.
And there's, then Raw against SmackDown means nothing now. Everybody's crossing over. It doesn't.
Yeah, they did that in the past, and it was like, the team. Now all of a sudden, you had good guys and bad guys working together because they gave a crap that they were Team Raw versus Team SmackDown. That was terrible too.
Yeah, the only time it really worked, the only time the Survivor Series to me really worked in that regard was when it was the John Cena team versus the Authority. And that actually worked out well. That was the one when Big Show turned and knocked out, and Dolph Ziggler ended up winning the match.
See, the original Survivor Series, you would combine guys that were in feuds in these matches. So then you get some super teams and stuff like that. And, some of them were good, some were bad, but at least you had some storylines in there that could weave in and out that worked.
But are they going to have a traditional Survivor Series match? Because they always seem to promote one during Survivor Series.
We have Survivor Series coming up, and right now there are 3 matches, one of which we don't know who's in the men's War Game match at this point, the women's match, and it is Ronda Rousey defending against Shotzi. That's all we got. With 2 weeks to go.
And that's and it's supposed to be one of the big 4.
Yeah. And they have done so if the whole idea of Ryan Fee, is that his name?
Yeah.
Of him being there for continuity and long-term planning, and Triple H taking over was to get long-term planning. They have done a piss-poor job of long-term planning.
I think that the only thing that you can do is set up a future storyline out of this, and that's the only thing that's going to save this right now, to me.
I'll tell you what, though, I'd be interested in seeing if they could do it, but I wouldn't mind seeing Bray Wyatt and Kross go at it, because Kross is great on the microphone and with the TikTok and all the other stuff and Scarlett. I think they could make something of that, but again, not in 2 weeks.
Yeah, there's not time for that. There's not time. And speaking of Bray Wyatt, by the way, the first clash, it appears to be for Bray Wyatt. And here we go again. Some weird booking from WWE is going to be LA Knight. Bray Wyatt headbutted LA Knight on SmackDown this week. So we may be getting an LA Knight push. I think some people were actually getting a little bit excited about, is going to get destroyed in a matter of a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and it sucks because
push.
I'd love to see LA Knight get pushed, and he deserves it. But you can't have him go up. It's a no-win situation for either guy in that feud.
Well, there's no win for LA Knight. He's gonna be the token first guy for Bray Wyatt to beat up, just like they had Kross beat up Gulak, which was just a jobber match, and then they had to beat Madcap Moss, who obviously they've already, whether it's Triple H, but Madcap Moss looked like he was getting a breakout role after leaving Corbin, and then they had Kross destroy him, and we haven't seen him since. So all LA Knight is, like, he's the guy who can talk a little bit, so they put him in a match, and Bray Wyatt beats him up, and they didn't have to sacrifice, Braun Strowman or, Kevin Owens or anybody for Bray Wyatt. But, that's a SmackDown match. Now, who Bray Wyatt wrestles at a pay-per-view is going to be interesting to see. Like I said, I think Kross has nothing else going on right now because they kind of ruined that whole thing. So Drew's involved in the bloodline. What's Kross going to do? He's supposed to be your number 2 heel.
Yeah, the one thing that I would be concerned, I wouldn't put Kross in there right away with Bray. I think that has potential to be a fantastic feud, but I think that you've kind of got to get this whole thing situated with Bray first, let him build up a little bit, and then eventually if you have a crossover feud between Wyatt and Kross with Scarlett on one side and whoever's going to be working with Bray on the other, at some point to try to stop Bray Wyatt. That would be fun. But my other concern is that I don't want to see Kross get fed to Bray Wyatt and put away either. I want to see Kross wrestling for the World Championship at some point. And if you feed him to Bray and he loses the feud, well, now he's sort of lost a feud to Drew McIntyre. Then he loses a feud to Bray Wyatt. How does that help Kross? It's just that's a tough spot.
Oh yeah, he drops all credibility at that point, and it's a shame because they're doing a nice job of building him.
Joe,
I don't know if they're doing a nice job of building him. They did a nice job of building him when he got brought back, and right now, again, if I remember, from what I've seen, wasn't he even not even used on SmackDown this week?
No, I don't believe it was. Nope.
So now it's kind of like, we have Drew and Kross 1-1, which has accomplished absolutely nothing. Drew's now going to the bloodline. So now Kross already has nothing to do.
Right. It's they got to be careful on this. I don't want them to lose Kross.
I highly doubt it.
But again, you hate to go here, but it all stems again, as far as I'm concerned, for having the unified championship. Because if you have 2 champions, then all of a sudden you have bigger and better programs on each show, and you can involve more people.
Well, the Brawling Brutes need a 5th guy. Do they do the respect thing, and do they do Drew and then add Kross to the mix? I don't know. Who could be the 5th guy?
I don't know.
Like I said, I still think it's going to be Kevin Owens.
I think it's probably going to be Kevin Owens, but we'll find out. But it was funny that you mentioned the splitting the World Championship up. Of course, Roman Reigns is holding both the Universal and the World Heavyweight title. And there was a idea that had gotten pitched that apparently got scrapped close to the last minute, that Drew McIntyre was going to win one of the championships at Clash of the Castle. That they were, and I'm curious to hear what you guys think of this, but and this is from via Cultaholic, and I think it came from Wrestle Votes and Gimme Sport, that this is a quote, the only thing they could think of was with Austin Theory, he was somehow going to make it known that he was only cashing in for one of the belts. Therefore, the match at Clash at the Castle with McIntyre and Reigns became a triple threat. Tyson Fury stopped him like he did, and then Drew was going to take one of the titles. But for whatever reason, that didn't work, and it sounds really convoluted. Don't know how you're going to pull it off on TV. And that was from Wrestle Votes via Gimme Sport.
I don't know how that would make sense. I'm wrestling you. Another guy gets involved, so now the other belt's not on the line. Like, that I know we're supposed to suspend belief, but
No, I think the only way you can do it is you have the event and you think it's for both titles, but then Paul Heyman comes out and says, I'm being the wise man in the contract. I have it stipulated it's really only for one of the two titles.
You can see why they said this idea was convoluted because it was convoluted.
They announced it for the entire time. It was for basically the undisputed Universal whatever title. It was like we all knew it was. Roman Reigns defends both titles. It isn't like in boxing where, hey, we're just defending the WBC title, not the IBF title.
You would have had to have done something to get a belt on Austin Theory temporarily. That's the only way that could have worked. But yeah, what a mess.
And they've WWE has painted itself into a corner and has no way to get itself out of it.
Yeah, just in general, they really need to take a little time and say, we've got to clean this up. We've got to clean that up. Let's figure out a smart way to do it. And go from
imagine
there.
Hulk Hogan wrestled Ultimate Warrior and it was like, oh, by the way, he only won one of the titles.
Right.
It just was, I'm in the belief that there should only be one title. It's one title. You're the heavyweight champion. There's not two heavyweight champions in the same company. I hate the idea that there should be two. There shouldn't be. There should be one champion. It just waters it down, and I get it that it worked enough with Brock Lesnar. It'll work with Reigns. He's there enough. Down the line, it's like you can't have Roman Reigns lose and then talk about his undefeated streak, and you can't talk about everything else if he actually lost to Drew. And it's like, I get it, but then have a ladder match with both belts, grab one of the belts, drop the other one by mistake, and Reigns picks it up, and since he has possession of the belts, hey, we got two champions.
Yeah, it was, this all happened because of their match at WrestleMania with Lesnar and Reigns, and they weren't going to pull the trigger on this, but it was I guess it was kind of a domino effect from the day one pay-per-view when Reigns got sick. And, Lashley had the title and they figured, well, we're going to, we've got to do something with Lashley and he got a concussion. I mean, it was the whole thing was just a mess and they were debating whether they were going to do it and have the unification match. They weren't. And then at the last minute they decided, yeah, we're going to do it. And now they've screwed themselves.
If WWE was more like AEW, it'd be great. Either the guy would get hurt or he gets suspended or he get fired.
Yeah, there you go. That simplifies things a little bit.
And now you just have another tournament for the title again.
Yep. We'll see how they get out of this hole. This is going to be quite interesting.
Well, they've been trying to get out of this hole for a while now and have been unable to do it.
It's been
6 months, 7 months.
Because the issue is you have to figure out a way to beat Reigns twice.
And then have him wrestle The Rock. It's like, well, you don't want to have Reigns wrestle The Rock after he just lost to Drew McIntyre.
Right. They're stuck until WrestleMania this year.
Oh, the other problem becomes, what if something happens and The Rock can't do it? Then this whole plan is for absolutely nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, do you think that they're still going to be waiting on The Rock to make his decision? Or do you believe it's a done deal? Like, to me, all they've been doing is hyping it. So it would really look like a lot of egg on the face of Triple H if all of a sudden it's like, oh, by the way, The Rock's not going to be there. So,
well, no, I believe that it's a done deal, but it's only as done as it can be because you never know what project The Rock's going to get offered. If he gets something in Hollywood that he can't refuse, or he's told, you know what, we want you to do this movie, but you can't wrestle, then it throws the whole thing off.
Yeah,
the dude's getting $30 million a movie. I think you could say, you know what, I'm booked this week.
Yes, he's a little busy. It's all good.
Yeah.
But by the way, some injury updates in WWE real fast before we get ready to head into our second hour here on the Mark Hoke Show on KDWN 101.5 FM 720 AM. R-Truth, who is actually getting used a little bit, tore a quad. So the 50-plus-year-old is out for a while. So unfortunately, the little push that, because they were going to team with Shelton Benjamin apparently, and that is now on hold for a while. So we want to wish R-Truth all the best. And Natalya, who apparently wrecked her nose a while back. Finally had surgery on it. Her nose was dislocated, and she's been having trouble breathing, but she had surgery just a week ago. She's going to be out a few months, so we want to wish Natty all the best as well.
And the way they wrote her off with the Shayna Baszler knee was done very well.
Yeah, but apparently that was a pretty bad injury. If you saw the pictures of Natty after the surgery, you could tell that nose was not in good shape.
But it wasn't quite as bad as the Seth Rollins knee to John Cena's face.
No, it actually looked worse. They managed to get... But, of course, Cena's got some pretty good plastic surgeons.
He must.
Hanging around. When you're the champ, they take care of you. All right, hey, when we come back, we got a whole lot more on the Mark Hoke Show in hour number 2 with Andrew Fish, Fain and Joe DeFalco, my co-pilots. Including Full Gear coming up. And, guys, I think there's some money to be made at Full Gear. We should be pulling our funds a little bit. So stick around, everybody. We will be right back here on the Mark Hoke Show. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you on the other side of the break. Want more of The Mark Hoke Show? Follow us on Twitter at Mark Hoke Show, like us on Facebook at The Mark Hoke Show, and visit markhokeshow.com to keep up with everything happening with the show. And remember to check out all of our archive shows on YouTube at The Mark Hoke Show and download our podcasts at markhokeshow.podbean.com and all your favorite podcast outlets. So join The Mark Hoke Show family today, and thanks for listening.